But it comes right down to it. Each and every one, it's our responsibility to mix in faith. It's our responsibility to take that measure of faith and believe. To overcome our unbelief. You must overcome your unbelief by mixing in faith with the promises of God. Mixing in faith with the Word of God. Mixing in faith with the truth of the Word of God. Verse 2 of chapter 4, Hebrews 4 says, "For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word of God did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it." Shall I read it again? "For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, because they did not mix faith with it when they heard it." You see, the very words that I'm speaking today, the very word of God, the very promises of God, you have to mix faith in it. You have to believe it to be true, to be real. And then you have to have hope that God will do it for you. And that's when you begin to mix faith with it. You start with hope that, yes, this will change. God will change this circumstance. I will change. That God will change me. That God has promised love, joy, peace, and all those good fruits of the Spirit, evidences of the Spirit. All the blessings of God are there for me. The blessings for what? The blessings are there. Blessings that come as a result or for the purpose of you overcoming, first of all, yourself and the circumstances of this life, the world, and the devil. That's what the blessing of God is to overcome something negative. We say, well, I'll just be happy to sit here in my house and God can bless me and I don't have to do anything. Or I don't have to worry about any circumstance or thing because I'm just going to sit in my house all day. It'll catch up to you. We're reading verse 2. For unto us was the gospel preached as well as unto them. For the word of God preached did not profit them. Why? Because they did not mix faith with it. You must mix faith. You must believe it to be true. You must believe it to be real. And then take it a step farther and make it real in your life. How do you do that? By entering into your rest. By allowing Jesus to carry you into that place or put you into that place where you're at rest. You're no longer struggling with your salvation. You're no longer struggling with self. With your desires and your wants. Why? Because Jesus has carried you into that place where you're at peace. You're resting. And whatever He wants, whatever His desires, whatever His purpose and plan for your life is what you want now and nothing else. Can you be satisfied with that? You see, the Hebrews, they wanted, not only they wanted the promised land, but they wanted the promised land handed to them on a silver platter. In other words, that they didn't have to go out and kick the giants out that were in the land. 10 spies went out. 2 came back and said, we can take the land because God has given us the promised land. Who cares if there's big giants there? God has given it to us. And the other 10 said, ain't no way. Yeah, the grapes might be this big there and all the fruits of the blessings of the land flows with milk and honey, but there are giants there. There's a problem. And we can't overcome the problem. That's what they said. Yes, the blessing's there, but there's also a problem. There are giants there, and we can't overcome them. 2 said, yeah, we can take them. Why? Because God's on our side. The other 10 forgot who they were for. Who was for them. They thought it all depended on them. That the way I'm going to get the blessing, the way I'm going to move into heaven is because it depends. I'm the one that's going to do it. It all depends on me. No, it doesn't. What does God ask you to do? He asks you to keep your focus and your attention on Him. That's your responsibility in entering into the rest. Anytime that you move your focus to somewhere else other than Jesus is where there's a problem arise. And then you take it into your own hands. You forget that, hey, you're not in this by yourself. And that becomes a problem. They were defeated. The 10 spies negative report won. The children of Israel, the Hebrew nation, mixed faith in with the 10 negative reports. They believed the negative reports of the 10. They mixed faith in it. You see, faith, unbelief is just believing in that which is not God. Believing the opposite of truth. Believing the opposite of the promises of God. That's what unbelief is. Not believing that God can deliver them, hands of the giants that were in the land into their hand. See, not believing that God could provide rest for you, so you have to go do it on your own. You have to go get it on your own. Right? I'm going to get this blessing. I'm going to go to the doctor and get this blessing. Or I'm going to go to the bank and rob the bank and get this blessing. You see, you believe more in yourself than you believe in God. That's unbelief. Unbelief is believing more in your abilities than in the abilities of God. That's unbelief. All he asks you to do is to give him your life. You give your life to him. Keep it in his hands. And then keep your focus and your attention on the rest of God. That's the part of that's the labor that you must do. That's what he said. Let's go on. I got ahead of myself here. That was verse 10 says, "For he that is entered into his rest, he also hath ceased from his own works, as God did from his." You see, are you still trying to work it out? You still trying to go get that blessing, even though that's not the blessing that God has for you? Are you still going after it? See, you have to cease from your own works, as God did from his. What is he talking about? He created heavens and earth. 6 days, 7th day, God rested. He was done working on the 6th day, and he rested. What is he asking you to do? Stop trying to go after the blessing of God and just live for God and allow him to bring the blessing. Allow him to carry you into the blessing. Allow him to put you into that place where your life is blessed. Through every circumstance, every issue, every negative report that pops up, to put you at rest, to carry you into that rest. Verse 10, "For he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own works." See, some people still trying to get salvation. It's a works types of salvation. If I say 45 Hail Marys, and if I whatever, then they get forgiven. That's a terrible way to live. Or if I just go to church on Sunday and on Wednesday, then it's not a problem. I'm saved because I'm in church every Sunday. Or I'm in church every time the doors open, Sunday and Wednesday and whatever day it is. Or I just do everything that the church tells me to do. I do what they tell me to do, and I do what they don't, and I don't do what they tell me I shouldn't do. I don't do that. In other words, I obey the rules of the church. Therefore, I'm saved. I'm sorry, that's not it. Obeying the rules of an organization is not salvation. He that has entered into his rest, he has also ceased from his own works, as God did from his. Verse 11 says, "Let us therefore, labor therefore